Alright, we are back once again. There's still a few episodes left. Welcome back to Doki Doki Literature Club. Side quests. Reflection 2, Part 2, here we come. A new day arrives. Sari arrives at the club room earlier than usual. That is, not late. As she enters, it appears to be empty still. So she sits down at a desk and pulls over a sheet of paper primed to jot down her thoughts. Suri has made a habit of scribbling her thoughts and feelings onto paper whenever possible, as it tends to serve her best inspiration for poetry. My heart feels vacant because a ship sailed away. Yo. Zuki? Zuki poked her head out from behind the closet door. Sorry, didn't mean to scare you. But I would have been a lot more awkward if I didn't say anything. I do you want to listen to me on my poetry thing. On the poetry thing. Yeah, thanks for realizing that. Should I let you finish that up then? Oh no, I wasn't. I just do it whenever I'm convenient. You're not interrupting. Where's Monica, by the way? Oh, she's out in the hallway. Huh? Why? Well, just in case she runs into Yuri. Sometimes Yuri's too nervous to come in the club room by herself, so... Oh. Geez, does Yuri really let things bother her for that long? She can't control her feelings. For some people, it's really hard to cope when you have bad thoughts in your head. Maybe you can distance yourself for a little while. But as soon as it's just you and your thoughts again, it comes back. I just want us to have a normal club meeting. It's a lot easier to pretend like it never happened if we all just ignore it and move on. I just don't want to be bothered by this. It's so stupid her opinion of me doesn't matter anyway. Besides, it makes me feel guilty. Really guilty, and I hate it too. It's okay to have feelings. It doesn't make you weak. Let's figure this out together. Fine. Only because you're good at this stuff. Let's try to come up with a happy scene. Maybe that will help us understand where the bad feelings are coming from. Well, I was happy the way things were before, but now that we had that conversation yesterday, what part of the conversation made you upset? Was it Yuri being mean about the manga? Maybe. I doubt it though. Because my friends and other people make fun of manga all the time, but I just brush it off and ignore them. But something about it really got me this time, and I hate it when I let it happen. Is it because it came from Yuri? No, why would that matter? Well, maybe. I hate when she thinks she's so much better than me. It's because she likes to pretend to be all sophisticated. Yeah, that's what it is. At least other people decide that they don't like me or manga or whatever. But Yuri acts like she's too good to even give it a chance. I'm sorry. Everyone deserves a chance. And yeah, exactly. Would you give Yuri's book a chance? After this? Obviously not. What about before this? Well, I would until I got bored, which wouldn't take very long. But if you actually kept an open mind, then it's not hard to realize that a story can be deep and meaningful without being needlessly complicated. I see. But it's like Yuri's books. Yeah? But you like manga more, right? Shuri shakes her head. I like them both. I like them in different ways. I like them both, but I like them both. The manga, it's really honest and fun and easy to just let go with. And the fantasy has a lot to interpret and uncover. It's really awkward, rewarding to have some good quiet times together with it. But the most important thing is that both of the manga and the fantasy are true to themselves. So I love them both. And I think there's room for both of them. to be in the same room, in the same club together. And I just feel like maybe they have more in common than you would think. How do you get along with everyone so well? I always get into fights with people. Like first it was with Monica when I was new to the club, and then it was you, and now it's Yuri. I'm always like, oh, that person's being such a jerk, and if they just realize that, then they would at least get along. But nobody else has this problem. I just keep running away from the reality that everyone's just a jerk to me because nobody likes me. And I don't know why, and I don't know what to do about it. I don't know what's wrong with me. I hate it. Nizuki. Stray puts a comforting hand on Nizuki's shoulder. You're a wonderful person. You deserve to be loved as much as everyone else. Everyone has different ways that like to communicate, you know? And sometimes that makes us harder for us to understand each other. I think that sometimes we get lucky and we make friends who are really good at the same kinds of communication, and it really like you magically connect with them. But other times, even if both people are really nice, it's easy for them to misunderstand each other, to get the communication wrong. It's something that Yuri struggles with a lot too. It can be really hard. It takes a lot of like reflection and self-awareness and vulnerability. I'm bad at that one. Vulnerability. I always have to be the strongest. What do you mean? Tell me about that part of you. Well, it sounds stupid, but it's really used to people being mean to me. Like my friends and I guess my dad. Like when I don't get good grades or even stupid things, like if my room isn't clean. So what am I gonna do? Cry about it? If I let myself get upset, it's just letting them win. I'm better than that. I'm better than all of them. So things always have to be everyone else's fault. It feels like if something goes wrong and there's even a tiny hint that it might be my fault, then I just get really angry and I find a way to blame everything else instead. Do you see yourself as better than Yuri? If I said, then I would just sound really full of myself. No. Our thoughts and our feelings are two different things. Even if we don't like our feelings, we have to understand them if we don't want to learn more about themselves. That's a part of vulnerability, you know? Accepting that we have feelings that we don't like. I hate that. My feelings make me a bad person. Because my feelings just want to tell me that I'm so much better than her. That she's a judgmental know-it-all who stuck her edgy phase, and that I'm just way above that garbage. I'm just terrible for feeling that way. You're not terrible. You're not. You are not your feelings, but you are not your feelings. Say that to yourself out loud. Fine, I am not my feelings. The way I like to picture it is that if those feelings are like your roommate, you live in the same house and you gotta see each other every day. If I can't ignore each other one of the most time, you're gonna run into each other every now and then. It's gonna make you feel like poop. So the other option is to get to know each other. You can communicate and learn from each other and maybe even help each other change for the better. That doesn't help you understand. Does that help you understand? How do you know so much about this stuff? I just have a roommate that can be really hard to get along with, called depression. Depression? But you're like the happiest person I know. I am not my feelings. I want to be a good person like you. Oh, you little sweetheart. We're all good people. You and Yuri and Monica. And I think Yuri will eventually learn that about you. Natsuki remains silent, feeling a little overwhelmed. Despite Sayori's kind reassurance, a complicated mixture of pain and sadness seems to fill her, as though flowing from a wound inside her. Was it the result of her vulnerability? No, it wasn't, as though she was inflicted a wound after becoming vulnerable. It was as thought to began to rediscover an old wound, one that cannot simply be bandaged or left alone any longer. Huh. Yuri, what are you doing all the way over here? I was looking for you. Please don't yell at me. I'm not gonna yell at you. I just wanted to say that I was sorry about what happened yesterday. It was unfair for me to put everyone on the spot like that. Next time I won't try to jump in and solve everyone's problems. I guess it's a bad habit of mine. You're not mad at me? I thought you were the bad one at me. I was so awful yesterday. Yuri curls up, recalling the details of the argument. I can't even have a normal conversation without saying something wrong and making everyone upset. Hold on. That's not what happened at all. Let's talk about this, okay? Yuri pauses for a second, then manages to nod. Monica takes a seat next to her on the staircase. I'm having a lot of negative thought patterns, and I can't get away from them. What kind of negative thought patterns? Like, everyone hates me. Especially Natsuki. Aw, that's terrible. I don't think Natsuki hates you. How do you know? Well, because Monica thinks back to the time that she herself found herself at an altercation with Natsuki, and how a display of maturity from Monica was enough for Natsuki to reevaluate her own feelings as well. I think Natsuki is just naturally defensive. I think she acts mean when she feels the need to protect herself. But you know, she's really not a bad person. In fact, I think she can be really thoughtful and considerate. She's just, I guess the way it works is that she runs to receive some degree of kindness before she feels comfortable returning it. Oh, but that means the burden is on me. And I don't know how to say things that make people like me. Every time I open my mouth, Yuri shakes her head at her and touches her on her hair. It's okay, Yuri. You don't need to beat yourself up. I think anyone would like if they had a chance to get to know you. Well, unfortunately, the opposite is true. That's why I'm not talkative anymore in the first place. Because everyone used to think I was weird and talk about me behind my back. That's what happens when I draw attention to myself. Natsuki even said she found it way more respectful when people speak their mind, so I did, and she hated me anyway. That was enough to confess my fears. But Sayori and I like you, and we've gotten to know you a lot by now, right? Yuri doesn't seem to have a response. Hey, what do you think of Natsuki? I don't think about her. That's not what I meant, really. I was just wondering if you had an opinion of her. I do. What is it? Natsuki seems to bring out the worst in me, and I feel really ashamed of it. I like to think of myself as a fairly sophisticated person. So for someone who just treats me like I'm inferior despite my taste, that's just the worst kind of insult coming from someone like her. And it makes me think bad things about her. But everyone else seems to like her, so the only explanation is that it's me who's doing something wrong again. And my feelings about her are wrong. and I'm wrong to get upset over something so childish and inconsensual. No, Yuri. Feelings are never wrong. Well, they're not right. That's the thing. Feelings are never right or wrong, you know? They're just a state of being that we don't always have control of. But that doesn't mean they have to control us. I feel like it's something I've learned when I first started this club. We can hate ourselves for feeling a certain way about things, or we can, just acknowledge that they exist and try to understand them better. I can never be mad at you for just feeling a certain way. It's about how you handle them. And I think working through feelings is a great opportunity for teamwork. Yuri wears a dejected expression. You make it sound so easy. You're so mature. And so good with people. I feel like such a child in comparison. Oh, Yuri. I'm far from perfect. But these are learned lessons. They didn't come naturally to me either. It's really hard to reflect on yourself and separate your feelings from the thoughts. I just want to be a good person. Well, I think it takes a good person to get that far. That's not good enough. I want to be able to communicate it to her. Communicate what? How I feel. How it makes me feel frustrated and upset when she's so negative and dismissive of the things that mean so much to me. And how it reminds me of me. Because I know what it's like to feel misunderstood and angry at everyone. I know that telling yourself you're better than everyone else is just a defense mechanism. We're just people. We're fragile and unstable. But I'm just tired of that and getting in the way. I can't stand it when the peace is disturbed like this. Yeah, you can't focus on your reading when the peace is disturbed, right? Because the literature club should be happy for everyone. Matra looks at Yuri in adoration. I feel like Sayuri must be rubbing off on me, because I really want to hug you right now. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. No, well, if you wanted to, then I wouldn't really mind, so Matra pulls Sayuri for a short embrace. You're so gentle, and I love it when you're communicating your feelings. I feel lucky to get that side of you. I'm sure Nizuki will too. I'm going to write her a letter. Oh, a letter? What a great idea. Just because I'm not good at talking, especially under pressure. I always let my feelings get the best of me, and I forget to say all the important things. And I say things I don't mean. Well, I think a letter would be wonderful. Such a nice way to communicate. Yuri's face hardens with determination. People don't naturally gravitate towards me like they do for you, Sayuri. What? My personality just isn't suited for that. And I wouldn't want it to be. But something I've learned is that friendships don't always just magically appear out of thin air. For instance, I would have seen myself making friends with someone like Sayuri. We're opposite in a lot of ways. But I'm friends with her because she puts in so much effort to understand me, so that we can get along. I think that's the same with you. You both give a lot of time and patience. I'm wondering if she feels the same way. Natsuki? Yuri nods. I always thought that if I wanted to make more friends, I had to be somebody that I'm not. That there's a type of person or a magical formula that I have to follow in order to make someone like me. And that's just like me, to think that. Always so occupied with myself that I fail to understand other people. Yuri shakes her head. Friendship happens when you think about other person. When you offer time and effort to understand them and respect them and trust that they also want to be a good person. That's what I learned through my observations in the literature club. Observations? Matra is caught by surprise. Yuri's always kept to herself so much that it's unusual to hear her suddenly talk about the club like this. But Yuri gently smiles to herself. You always let me listen to your thoughts about people. Suri too. And it makes me happy because I learn a lot of things. That's so sweet. I had no idea you meant that much to you. Monica never thought much of it, but in the past few weeks, Yuri always seems to be especially attentive when it came to the problems and concerns of others. Always wanting to list and learn about her friends in the club. It's true, Sarah and Monica are naturally more comfortable with other people and can more easily work through situations of conflict. But it doesn't make them better people. Everyone has the strengths and weakness of the captivity to improve. And the first step towards improving oneself is reflecting and self-awareness. If something that Yuri never gave herself enough credit for is that Monica can recognize as an incredible trait. And with that, her confidence in the club is restored. A very shy girl with long, pretty hair is wandering bustling lunchtime hallways, her fist pressed into her collarbone. When she finds the literature club president's classroom, she stands at the door glancing all over her before peering inside. Monica is sitting and chattering with a group of unknown friends. Yeah, I expected. This is a bad idea after all. Suddenly Monica glances towards the door, making the girl panic and dust out of her sight. Before she can regain composure and decide for sure to leave, the classroom door gently opens. Yuri, what a surprise to see you during lunch. Yuri tweets a response. Please help me. What, is everything okay? Yuri shakes her head. I don't know how to write letters. Thank goodness. I thought there was some kind of emergency. Monica briefly glances over her shoulder to look at her friends. Do you want some help? We can go find an empty classroom or something. Is that okay? I feel bad taking you away from your friends. It's totally fine. I promise we weren't doing anything. One sec. Monica trots back to her classroom, says something like, I gotta go, to her friends, and grabs a pen off her desk before returning to Yuri. Okay, let's find somewhere quiet. Yuri nods and follows Monica as the two of them set off. How are you today? Huh? Me? Well, yes. Oh gosh, sorry, I was just caught off guard. I'm doing well today, just tired. I never seem to get enough sleep during the week. How come? I don't know. I think I just easily distracted. I get really sucked into things and start neglecting the time. Me too, I do that too. Hey, this classroom is empty. Let's go in here. After peering inside, Monica opens the classroom door and the two of them enter. Yuri's moment of relaxation ends. She watches as Monica pulls two chairs to the same desk, then obeys as Monica beckons her to take a seat. She stares down at the empty desk. You nervous? I don't want to do this. We don't have to. We can come up with something else. Yuri shakes her head. Take initiative. Gosh, you must be really determined. I know how hard it is to step out of your comfort zone. I'll be sure to encourage you. Yuri pushes through her anxiety and grabs a handful of lined paper in her notebook. She then picks up her pen. Hey, you're left-handed. That's neat. Ah, yeah. Now I don't have to worry about bumping your arm. Monica playfully rubs her shoulder against Yuri's. Sorry, I'm just being silly, I guess. Anyways, how do we start by listening to different things you want to say to her? Yuri thinks. I feel embarrassed all of a sudden. Oh, that's okay. How about some of the things you say to me yesterday? But never mind. I guess I'll try. Yuri thinks for a moment long, tension evident. Then she writes the word reflection. This is about my reflection on our behavior. The key question is that why we act like this towards each other, but have been able to be friends with Sarah and Monica. That's me. Yes, it is. So, Yuri thinks, I've been able to befriend the two of you because you've taken the time to understand my needs and respect my interests. The same goes for Nazuki too. We started off pretty hostile to each other because we were so worried about getting what we want, but she just wanted to be respected more than anything else. Once I stopped making it all about me, she was able to do the same. I want to do that too. So what kinds of things do you want to do for her? I want to do the same thing for her like I like to receive. I like when the people respond positively to the things I talk about, not just brush me off. I like it when my feelings are taken seriously. And I like it when you and Sayuri trust that I'm a good person, even when I'm not doing a good job at it. Let's write those things down. Okay. Should we write some things down? I think the most important thing is to remember here and that Nazuki is feeling vulnerable. So we should make sure that the letter puts her first. It's hard when you're feeling hurt, but it never helps to just tell someone all the things that they're doing wrong. I think first you have to make sure that you know you're ready to respect and listen to each other and admit the things that you feel you could do better. Then finally, you ask what you would like in return. How does that sound for a structure? It could be 3 paragraphs, 1 for each of those points. I like it. My thoughts were so disorganized I had no idea how to come up with any kind of structure. You're so amazing at these things. Oh, stop. You've done so much more than I have, you know? You spent so much time reflecting and being open-minded. That's the hardest thing for anyone to do. All I'm done is helping you put it on a piece of paper. So I think you're the amazing one. Yuri gives Yuri a hand a twitch to ease. But as she lets go, she is caught by surprise when Yuri curls her fingers to hook Monika's hand in place. For a while, they sit there in silence, safe from the occasional scratching of Yuri's pen against the paper. Yesterday, you told me something that I'm thinking about a lot. What is that? The thing about how feelings aren't right or wrong, but they're just that they just state that being we need to come in terms with. It made me think about how a person's behavior isn't always just how they decide to be. It's also made up to their past experiences and their insecurities. I think that helps me see other people as actual people rather than as insignificant side characters who are out to get to me somehow. Is that how you feel about Natsuki? Yuri nods. But in reality, everyone is always trying their best and everyone wants to be happy. Monika peers over at Yuri's paper, but to her surprise, Yuri pulls it a little closer, particularly covering it with the arm. I have to be able to read it to help you, you know? It's okay. My thoughts are more organized now, after being able to talk to you about it. Now I'm actually putting it on paper, I realize I really prefer others not to read it. Yuri laughs softly to herself, a rare expression. I'm kind of glad to hear that, actually. It somehow keeps finding ways to butt into this whole thing. I've done enough damage. But it's also been so wonderful talking about this. I mean, I always thought you were really smart, but... Yuri smiles. I will always be terrible at these things. People are just so incomprehensible to me. I never get the hang of being one. But listen to you, so much has really helped me make sense of these things. So just don't call it damage, please. Monika gives Yuri a gentle smile. I can't believe I came to this club looking for fantasy geeks and all I got was real friends who value me. Is that a joke? Of course it is. I still can't tell with you. Sorry. No, I love it. Please never change. As you wish. Yuri glances at the clock. We're almost out of time. Will you be able to finish before the end of the day? Probably. But I don't want to come in the club the same day as Mizuki reads it. I'm too shy. I can give it to her instead if you like. Yuri nods. As long as you promise not to read it. Of course I promise. Thank you. Yuri tills and the two stand up. I'll message you when it's ready. Monka nods. Good luck. I'm here if you need me. Yuri returns a nod and the two depart. Wow. Well, I hope you guys did enjoy that one. Next, we're up to self-love, and then self-love part 2, and I think there's supposed to be one more that pops up afterwards. So if you guys did enjoy that episode, please do like and subscribe for more. Have a good day, and as always, bye.